Welcome everybody. I'm Alison from Founders for Schools, and today we are talking to TCS about early careers with women in tech. We have a guest moderator with us, Sue Charman Anderson from Ada Lovelace, and I'll be handing over to her quite shortly to carry on proceedings, but I just want to say welcome to everybody and welcome to celebrating Role Model Week with us here at Founders for Schools. Sue, thank you very much for coming along today.
Thank you. And so, yes, hello, everybody. Welcome to our Early Careers Women in Tech with TCS event with Founders for Schools. So this week is Role Model Week, and you're going to hear from two inspiring role models who are going to talk to you about their careers. So to the audience at home and at school, those in charge of computers, can you please make sure your audio and video is turned off? You can ask as many questions as you like, and we would love it if you ask us questions using the chat function. And then at the end, we will put some of those questions to our speakers. We're also recording this session, and it will be featured on the Founders for Schools YouTube channel. But before we get started, I just wanted to properly introduce myself. My name is Sue Charman Anderson, and I'm the founder of Ada Lovelace Day, which is an international celebration of women's achievements in science, technology, engineering, and maths, and which is today. So if you've not heard of Ada Lovelace, she was the first person to write and publish what we would today call a computer program. So she wrote a series of instructions to do some quite complicated maths on a mechanical computer called the analytical engine that had been invented by a man called Charles Babbage. But more importantly than that, Ada Lovelace was the first person to truly understand how important computers could become. And she predicted that one day they would be able to make art and music entirely by themselves. And we are now starting to see with various AI software that actually happening, which is quite amazing. It has only taken 180 years. So it is now time for me to introduce our guest speakers. I am very, very happy today to welcome Kira Noonan, who is a Corporate Social Responsibility Executive at TCS, and Melissa Dedigama, who is an Operations Program Manager at TCS. So welcome both of you. Thank you for being with us today. So we're going to start with Kira. So can you tell us a little bit about what TCS is, and then can you tell us a bit more about what you do? What does your job title mean? And tell us your career.
Of course, thank you, Sue. Sorry, Sue. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's kind of very strange for me to be on the panel rather than somebody organising the panel, because a big part of my role is organising events similar to this. So it is wonderful to be here today to talk about my career and also about TCS alongside my amazing colleague Melissa, who you'll hear from a bit later on. So just about TCS, as I assume that you probably haven't heard of us, although we are kind of a bit everywhere really. So TCS stands for Tata Consultancy Services, and we are a global IT services, consulting and business solutions organisation. So that's a bit of a mouthful, so I'll tell you what that is exactly. So what we do is we work with the country's biggest companies, ones you've probably heard of, such as Morrisons, Marks and Spencers, Barclays, Nationwide, Jaguar Land Rover, as you'll hear from Melissa, and we call these our clients. So we work with them to work out how they can best use technology to achieve their business goals and become more successful. So we do this all around the world. We're nearly 500 million strong globally, with about 20,000 people working in the UK and Ireland alone. So a very, very large corporation. But as you'll find out from me, that you don't have to be technical to work for Tata Consultancy Services or a similar tech company. There are many roles within the tech industry that are non-technical and require lots of other skills other than technical skills. So a little bit more about my role within TCS. I'm a Corporate Social Responsibility Executive, or sometimes that's known as CSR. And what CSR is, and you'll find that most big and large companies across the UK and globally now have a similar team to what I work within at TCS. So what corporate social responsibility is a organisation who has a commitment to doing good for the communities that they serve. So we're of course in the UK and Ireland at the moment. So we want to help our communities and we do this in many ways. We also have similar teams like mine all over the globe, including in India, South Africa, North America. So it really is a global operation. And the great thing about it is that I get to speak to people from all over the globe every day. And even though our communities have different ways of kind of solving their kind of social issues, we actually all do have very similar ones. So we have a framework that we follow, which is committed to solving particular issues. And our main one at TCS is educational inequality. So we do lots of work at TCS towards helping bridge the STEM skills gap, inspiring young people to get into technology, and particularly those from underrepresented groups. And we do this in ways such as work experience programs, sessions similar to this, as well as we have a program called Go IT, which is a big STEM program where we go into schools and teach them all about design thinking, innovation, and how to use technology for good. So what we do is use the kind of tech expertise of people like Melissa to inspire young students to take an interest in the tech industry. So although I don't do a technical role, so I'm not coding or programming or anything like that, I still can work within the tech industry. So I didn't always think that I'd be doing corporate responsibility, although it covers so many areas that I'm passionate about. And that's why I think I kind of fell into this job, but not really fell into it. It was kind of a little bit more focused than that. But I did A-levels, so I did my GCSEs. I then went on to do A-levels. I studied English literature, I studied sociology, history, and also textiles. So they're not normally subjects that you would kind of put with the tech industry. But as I said, there's so many opportunities beyond technical roles within the tech industry. So after studying my A-levels, I went on to do a degree in sociology at the University of Birmingham. And while I was there, learned lots of different things, and particularly about inequalities in the world. And I already cared a lot about these issues and was already thinking about a career that would do good for the world. But I think while I was there, I really kind of mastered those skills in that area. Particularly, actually, my main interest was in housing inequality, and I did my dissertation about the impact of media representations after the Grenfell Tower disaster on council tenants. So how people that live in council housing were viewed by the public after such a big disaster like Grenfell, what happened at Grenfell Tower. So kind of reducing inequalities was always my kind of main passion and what I wanted from a career. And I never thought that I could do that while working for a tech company, particularly such a big one. But with corporate responsibility, you can take that passion for doing good and do it within a large corporation who want to use their profits and their time to help make the world a better place, other than just the amazing work they do within technology and with our clients. They also do amazing work in the charity sector, the education sector, and yeah, it's a brilliant role to be in, and you'll find that lots of companies have similar jobs such within CSR as well. You'll find this across industries now. So yeah, I don't have so-called technical skills like coding, but the skills that I do have are things such as critical thinking, which I definitely learned a lot through sociology. So this is when you kind of see the other side of a view of an issue, and rather than just the kind of mainstream view of it, you kind of turn it on its head and think, well, how can I think about this differently in order to solve this problem? And I think sociology is kind of encompasses critical thinking. It's the idea about viewing everything in society in a critical way. Why do we act the way we do? Why do we have the systems in society that we do? So that's a great skill that I've got, and use that every day at work. As well as problem solving, that's a really important skill in the industry at the moment. And then also collaboration. So people's perception of the tech industry is very much that it's you alone on your computer, but actually it's the most collaborative environment, and we really rely and work together to do the work that we do in CSR, and also in the more technical roles as well. So that's a little bit about me. I have noticed that there is a question in the chat saying, are there lots of non-technical jobs in a company like TCS? The answer is yes, there are hundreds of different jobs within big companies, and particularly tech companies like TCS, that actually help them function. So that they're able to do the amazing work in technology that they do. They have amazing teams in diversity and inclusion, CSR like myself, recruitment, so getting the right people for those jobs, talent development, so making sure that the people that are working for TCS are developing their skills and growing their skills, so that they can, you know, climb the ladder and improve and get more senior roles. We also have people that work in sales. We have big events as well that need to be organised, such as TCS is the main sponsor of the London Marathon. So we have a whole events and marketing team that work on making it look as amazing as it did a couple of weekends ago. We have marketing, we have people in social media, we have people that work in admin roles and payroll, so making sure we all get paid, as well as kind of client relations, so making sure that TCS has a good relationship with the people that they're working with. So there's so many non-technical roles within a tech company, as well as, of course, hundreds of technical roles as well. So yeah, I will pass over now to Melissa, who will give a kind of insight into her role, which is a lot more tech focused. So Melissa, over to you.
Hello, hi everyone. I hope my camera is visible. I'm not sure if it shows. Okay, sure. Thank you, Kira. Yeah, so I'll start with saying I work as a project management officer for TCS, but my client is Jaguar Land Rover. So I'm mainly focused with the work that's assigned for Jaguar, and I'll explain what I do as my role. So program manager is working in Jaguar. So basically my responsibility is to work with the new brick project, that's the electrical cars. I'm sure some of you maybe heard of it. So by 2025, all the Jaguar cars going to be, Jaguar and Land Rover cars going to be only electrical. So we have a big project that's undergoing right now to be able to cope up with this capability. So we need to undergo all the plant, like to manufacture these, and also in terms of resourcing planning. So like the people who currently, like our current employees, need to be able to have the good skills to be able to work in these electrical roles. So my responsibility right now is in the resource planning. So what I do is go through our current employees and find their skills and see if they're capable, and then give them right training things to do. What I do right now is mostly management stuff, but I will start with where I started my career at TCS. So I'll start with what I did for A-levels. So for my A-levels, I did business, maths, and ICT because I had the idea of doing something IT based in the university. So I went to do computer science at University in Nottingham, and then I started as a software engineering student, but then I chose to do computer science because I thought it would widen my opportunities to many more careers, which I made a good choice in that, because I was very lucky to find the chance with this position with TCS within literally within 2 weeks of my finishing my degree, and the interview went very smoothly and I was so happy with it. And they gave me this position as a graduate management trainee, which I was working as a junior software engineer initially for Jaguar Land Rover again. And in this role, I was working for the plant in Birmingham, and where we were working with application systems, like where all the manufacturing is done. We were mostly focused on the applications that runs all the robots, all the systems like in the plant. So that's what I was doing. So it was a bit more coding than what I do right now. So the language that we used at the plant was C#, and we also used like the HTML and CSS for the front end. I also work in some project there as well, where we was developing this tool to help the employees with their everyday tasks. So we did that with C# again. So that was like the main language that I used. But in my degree, I learned Python, MATLAB, but C++ as well. So many languages, but C# was the one that came in handy for me. Yeah, and then after that, I changed my role from junior software engineer to this management positions where I work with senior managers, and we are doing this amazing project of the electrical car vehicles that's coming. So that is very, very exciting. That's what I'm doing right now. But I think if I had to say like an inspiring quote, I would definitely use this one, where I use always like, your dreams doesn't have an expiration date. Take a deep breath and try again. So I think this is the really good one for me, because like I would like every time I thought when I was doing like IT, I really thought like, okay, this is not the field for me, because in my university as well, I was the only girl in my course. For the whole course, in every classes that I would attend, I would be the only girl, and I'm like, maybe this is not the right field for me. I just kept like thinking that, but little did I know that it was a really good chance for me to get into the industry as well, because they welcome more female, they encourage female to do in this tech. And as well as my team right now, I work with senior managers, as I said earlier, and they're all male, but they really like the diversity, and they like really encourage me to input my opinion and like say where they should go around and everything. So they really encourage, like I really feel that I chose the right path afterwards. So I don't regret that at all. And what I would say to my younger self will definitely be to continue what I'm doing, continue what I'm doing right there, because I think I was in the right track at that time as well, and experience and engage in many more activities. And I think especially in like volunteering activities that I did at university as well as in sixth form, because I think that really boosted my CV to get into and get an idea of what I want to do in the future, as well as like when I was interviewing for the jobs, they would ask me like specific questions that was regarding like interviews, like regarding anything that's like specific skills that I have. So I would like quickly I could refer to something that I did as my volunteering. So that was very useful for me. Yeah, so that's my story.
So we have a question from Mr. Baird, who says, we have girls who like the idea of computing science but don't like maths. They want to know if they need to study maths. So Melissa, I think that's probably one for you.
Yes. Yeah, that's a really good question. So at my university, we had both the ones who did A-level maths and ones who didn't do A-level maths. But I don't think it came as a problem, because at my university, and I think in every university, they would start from scratch. So I think because I did A-level maths, we were like a little advantageous, because we knew the content they were teaching, but they had to teach us anyways, and we had to learn it anyways. So regardless you're doing maths or not, you will be taught again at university in year 1 again, and by year 2 everyone would be in the same level. And I don't think it will be. But if you don't like maths, I don't think there's a lot of maths in computer science. I think it was just one lesson that we had for software engineering as well as in computer science, and it wasn't like the maths that I did in A levels. I wouldn't say that it was the same. It's kind of like the logical thinking and trying to get you to your mind into coding and these kind of skills. So I don't think maths would be a problem.
Kira, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, no, I completely, I mean, obviously I didn't study maths at all. Maths is not my thing at all, but that's okay because I don't have to use too much maths in my everyday job. Sometimes a bit of Excel and formulas, but that's as far as it goes. But just echoing what Melissa said, that if you are interested in studying computer science, there's lots of also creative jobs within computer science as well. It might be that you're a user experience designer or a user interface designer, where you're actually designing the look of a website rather than doing the coding part. So there's always that pathway to go down in computer science as well. It doesn't have to be the kind of maths heavy, but as Melissa said, the maths you use in computer science I think is a lot more practical than what you would study at A level. So as long as you've got some sort of foundational level of maths, I think go for it, definitely.
Absolutely agree. So we have a question from Alison. So Kira, what made you choose, or Melissa, what made you choose the university that you went to?
Yeah, so I think the reason, so I studied sociology, so I went to University of Birmingham, and I went to the campus and absolutely fell in love with the campus. I'm also from just outside of London, so I'm kind of used to being in a big city, and I still wanted that when I went to university, but without having to stay at home. So Birmingham is the second biggest city in the country, so that's naturally where I went. But also they do a great sociology course. They're a very, well-renowned university, so that also attracted me to study there. But particularly if you are looking at going to university, really have a look at the course and the modules that are on offer at that university, because you'll see that it might be BA sociology at every university, but the content that you'll learn will be very different, and I assume that might be the same with computer science as well. So really look at the modules you're studying. As I said, my interest was in kind of reducing inequality and also housing and media. So yeah, I went for the universities that had those modules on offer. Also research, I'm really passionate about social research, so I looked for universities that had those types of modules. So that would be my advice when choosing, and somewhere that you feel that you could enjoy and you feel kind of at home, because it will be your second home for 3 years or more.
Yeah, I will go. So I chose university at Nottingham Trent University in Nottingham, and I chose that because I was locally, and when I went to the campus, it was really nice. It was like very modern, and it was kind of close to my home as well. So I thought it would be good for me to stay with my parents and go to uni, which I did for the first year, and then I moved to stay with my friends in the second years. So it was a good experience for me in both ways, and it wasn't a totally new city for me. So I think I found it very good, because I was originally from Italy. I came to UK, so I didn't want to move around a lot. So I think I found Nottingham very convenient as well at that point. And also in terms of the course they taught, so I went through their computer science degree courses. And what I most attracted to the university is because for the first year of university, they teach every computing courses the same syllabus, which gives us the chance to choose which course we want to do in the second years. So as I think I mentioned earlier, I did start as a software engineer student, and as I learned the degree in the first year, I understood I think computer science would be more suitable. So that gave me the chance of switching to computer science in the second year.
Fantastic. Another question from Mr. Baird. He would like to know, is there a gender pay gap in the industry? And I'd like to know what TCS might be doing about that, if you happen to know.
I can take that one, or attempt to answer this. So to my knowledge, there isn't a kind of gender pay gap, explicit gender pay gap at TCS or in the industry. But what there is a big kind of gap between the amount of women are represented in the industry. They're very underrepresented, particularly in senior roles. And that's not because the talent's not there, but sometimes there are kind of things that block women getting to those roles. And what TCS does is it has a big commitment to kind of reducing that, encouraging more women to get into the tech industry. And we do that in many ways. In my role within that is helping run the STEM programs that we do in schools, and they have a particular focus on underrepresented groups within the industry, such as girls. So we want to create that kind of talent pipeline from primary school, secondary school, university, and then hopefully that will inspire women to go on and be part of the industry. Once they kind of get into the industry, TCS offers so many learning opportunities and kind of talent development courses and chances to enhance their skills as well. So there's amazing women leaders within TCS who are really inspiring. We also have a women's network where we do lots of talks similar to this, but at different levels, about kind of being a woman in the industry. How can we make it better? We also are committed to, we have a diversity and inclusion team who has a big focus on this. I think they'd be more qualified to give the kind of exact answer, but they're also committed to making TCS one of the best places to work as a woman by 2030. So kind of along with our climate goals, we also have these goals towards gender equality. So my team is actually majority women. Our head of CSR is also a woman, and there's some really inspiring kind of female role models within TCS. There's a long way to go for the industry as a whole, but yeah, I think there's a lot of hope, and people like Melissa who've already done kind of amazing things and have progressed very quickly really is testament to the talent of women that are coming kind of into the industry now. So yeah, hopefully, so don't be put off if you're a woman or a girl on this call. It is, yeah, definitely a great industry to be in, and you can really make, big changes.
Fantastic. Yes, excellent. That's great to hear. So another question, do you need to go to university and get a degree, or are there other ways that people can enter a tech career, like apprenticeships or internships? What are the options?
I can, well, as you heard, that Melissa and I both did degrees. I'm non-technical, Melissa's technical, but there are so many ways to enter the tech industry, because it's at the end of the day, it's a very practical subject, doing technology, doing computer science, so it can be learned on the job. So there are many apprenticeships. There's a brilliant website called QA, just the letters QA, which has lists and lists of different apprenticeships in technology, in particular IT, such as IT solutions, but there's also the route of internships as well. So I actually, when I left university, I started at TCS as an intern, and then progressed into a permanent member of the team after that. So yeah, there's also I think the university apprenticeships where you can work for a company and then they also pay for you to do your degree while working for them. So definitely check out your options. Melissa, I don't know if you have any advice on that as well.
Yeah. So I was going to say I wouldn't know about non-technical, but I think in terms of technical, as you said, it's much more practical things that we learn. And there are things that I was completely new to when I come to the job, and I was taught while on the training. But only thing I would like I would think is like when you apply, I think the ones who has a degree would be more advantageous, and they would have the advantage of getting the job because they're most experienced, and then they have all the like the skills, and they already know the languages like the Python, C++. They probably have more experience using the languages, so I think the employers would be more willing to get those applications. But at the same time, if it's up to you to go around and find your way and do like maybe self-learning and then learn these skills yourself and then put them in the CV so it stands out. And then I think if you do that, you probably would be more like highlighted because you're a self-learner, and that would motivate the employers even more to get you.
Yeah, and just on that, sorry, just to add as well that although TCS might not offer these kind of apprenticeships, there are many tech companies that do. I know that there's actually somebody who works for TCS who went through the AWS program, which at the end of doing this course, they actually got a job at TCS with absolutely no degree, and they're now working for TCS. So Google these opportunities. Sometimes it's worth just Googling, I don't have a degree, how can I get into the tech industry? And there's lots of schemes out there and lots of apprenticeships. So maybe not at TCS, but beyond. But with TCS, there are internships, and we don't actually always ask for a degree. So it's definitely worth looking into.
Fantastic. We have another great question from Andrew. He said, we have found that when girls start school, they're interested in computer science, but they don't choose to take it as an exam. So how do we keep them interested? Melissa, how do we get people kind of to stay interested in computing?
I think as a girl, I had a kind of a same problem, I think, at A levels, because when I was doing IT again, I was the only girl in my classes, and I felt like the boys would learn it faster than I would, so I had to do even more learning at home and like self-learning to get into the same level. So I think to keep them motivation, I found it self-motivation personally, because I'm someone who's I'm a competitive person, I would say that. So I don't want to be this like in the like lower levels, or like I wanted to be best at what I do. So I would learn my skills and do my like learning at home or whenever. And then the best thing I would found was talking to my teachers in my sixth form, with who they were very, very helpful to me. Every time they would give me more activities so I could take part in things, and they would tell me like how they overcame these issues. And I think self-learning would have been my solution.
Kira, do you have anything any suggestions?
So I was going to say, completely agree with Melissa that you have to be self-motivated, especially if you are, say, the only girl in your class. I hope that's changing now, but that you do have to be a bit self-motivated. But we're talking about role models. I mean, naturally, being the one girl in the class in computer science, you are a role model, a trailblazer, and I think that's something to be really proud of, and that would hopefully kind of keep you going. But also, just from a perspective of kind of teachers, events like this, and there's so many programs, there's so many webinars, and there's so many inspiring female computer scientists out there. So sometimes just exposing your students, male and female, to role models is the way to go. So really, you're in the right place, and hopefully that gets them inspired.
Absolutely. And I would add as well, actually, trying to tie in the career opportunities with things that your students, your girls, are interested in terms of if you feel that there is a career there for you doing something that you're passionate about, whether, for example, maybe that's tackling climate change or working on green energy, or helping transform business. It's like understanding what the opportunities are helps you, and I say this from experience, helps you to imagine yourself in those roles. So having kind of conversations about what careers are like, and where tech is everywhere. All sorts of companies are now tech companies, whether we think they are or not. So talking about the wide breadth of opportunity, I think, is valuable.
Yeah, and the odds are that you will be using technology within your role, no matter what you do. Even if you're interested in art, even if you're interested in fashion, the tech is the future, really. So everything we do, I mean, we saw that with COVID, suddenly the importance of tech was amplified, and when we all had to work from home. And I think now, moving forward, everything we do is going to have an element of tech. So if you're interested in graphic design, you know, the likelihood is you'll be using computer aided design to do that job. So there's so many career opportunities, and also normally at a little bit better pay than others. So that's definitely a pull to do in the tech career. Hopefully that will kind of keep them interested.
Alison.
Thank you very much, all of you, for that. So it is Role Model Week here at Founders for Schools. So I just wondered, do any of you have a role model? And I'll include Sue in that question as well. Whoever wants to go first.
Melissa?
Okay, sure. I think if I think of a role model, I always think personally of my mother, because she's an inspiring woman for me. And she's working like a hardworking woman who inspires me every day from everything she does. I think as being like a mother itself is a big duty. It's like a full-time job, and as well as doing a full-time job, it kind of inspires me every day. And she always pushed me to do what I think is the right thing. And me coming from an immigrant parents, my parents moved to Italy first from Sri Lanka, and they didn't have all the resources, the opportunities that they would have had. And I feel like both my parents, they sacrificed a lot for me to get to where I am today. So that like really inspires me to do well in my my life, in my future, because I feel like I owe it to them as well. And yeah, I think my role would definitely be my mom.
Sounds like a very good role model to have, definitely. Kira, what about you?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna win the Bad Daughter Award for not choosing my mum. But no, yeah, and my family as a whole as well was such a inspiration to me, always kind of encouraging me to do what I want to do, and allowing me to have a voice and use it. So always my family. But in terms of kind of celebrities, I was thinking yesterday about, gosh, I have so many role models, mainly female role models, and just people that I either see myself in, or I see them as kind of like trailblazers, and almost all of them are kind of doing something taboo. If they're a woman, you know, doing something kind of trailblazing and new. And you know, one of the people that came to mind was Lady Gaga, because to me she represents being yourself, you know, and always spreads a message of kindness. And she's a big ally of the LGBTQ plus community and women as well. So I think she's a great role model, as well as being incredibly talented. And then I have kind of more odd role models, such as kind of my favorite poet Sylvia Plath. Even though she's got, you know, a darker history and life story, she was one of the first women to kind of talk so openly about mental health through her work. So I think, again, she's a trailblazer and an inspiration. And of course, Malala as well. I do a lot of work in the educational inequality space, and reading Malala's book was so eye-opening, and she's a huge inspiration still to this day in the work that she does. So yeah, I'd say they're up there, but there's so many, I could go on.
What about you, Sue?
I think it's written into my job description that I have to say Ada Lovelace. Ada, I think, is an amazing person, was an amazing person, not just because of what she did and the vision that she had around how Charles Babbage's analytical engine could work as a general computer. She was also very tenacious. She spent a lot of time working on the notes that would become what she's famous for. She spent a lot of time sending letters to Charles Babbage asking him to clarify how the analytical engine worked. She wrote her program for the analytical engine, and she developed her vision for computing, which is very recognizably a modern vision of general purpose computing without a functioning computer. Babbage never actually built the analytical engine. So she did all of that on pen and paper from first principles, and I think that's absolutely amazing. It shows a kind of a persistence, and she really wanted to understand not how to get the right answer from something, but just why the answer was correct. And you see this as well in her maths. We have letters where she was essentially doing a correspondence course with a mathematician called Augustus de Morgan. And she's never satisfied of just getting an answer right. She wants to know why it's right. And I just love that about her. I love the way that she just wanted to immerse herself in what she was doing. She wanted to just truly understand it. And for that, I think that's one of the reasons why, after 13 years of doing Ada Lovelace Day, I still love her. I still think she's an amazing person.
And we also think she's an amazing person here at Founders for Schools. We do celebrate Ada Lovelace Day every year because we love what she represents, and we love that the charity now encourages young women to go out and seriously consider careers in technology and wider in STEM, because the more stories that are out there, the more likely somebody's going to see, I can see that, I can be that, and then they'll enter the workforce and
Absolutely.
become like Alicia, which we think is something very worth promoting. So thank you all very, very much for coming along. If nobody has any more questions, I think that's probably a good point to wrap it up. So really appreciate your time, both for coming along and listening to us today, and to our three speakers for speaking, and also to TCS for sponsoring not only this session, but also Role Model Week here at Founders for Schools. And hopefully, oh, hang on, we do have a question. While somebody's typing, I will just let you know that there will be a feedback form that will be coming out. And we would really like to get some input from you, because it helps us decide what we're doing with our future events. And we'll also send out a copy of this recording so you can watch this back at your own pleasure. So thank you very much for coming along. We'll just wait 2 more seconds until Andrew has finished typing. He's just saying thank you. Well, there we go. Thank yous all round. Have a lovely day. We hope you enjoy the rest of Role Model Week, and good luck with your future careers. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.